Dear class of 2020, I'm Evan Solomon. It is great to meet all of you virtually, and congratulations to all of you on this remarkable accomplishment. And a warm welcome to your new extended family, the Crescent Alumni. I'm coming to you from my CTV Power Play studio, and I hope you're doing well wherever you're watching this. Look, if this was 2020 BC, or before COVID, that is, we might get to meet in person, which I would have loved to do. You would be sitting on the beautiful grounds of Crescent with your friends and family around, waiting to walk on stage and receive that graduation diploma you've worked so hard for. The sun would be shining down on what your English teacher would probably call pathetic fallacy, signaling the bright future ahead for all of you. There would be hugs and high fives and parties. But even then, in that old world, you might be thinking, really? A speech from a Crescent old boy? Seriously? Couldn't you guys get, like, Ryan Reynolds? No, they couldn't. You got me. Look, the idea behind a commencement speech is that someone's supposed to impart some kind of advice, some wisdom for you at this critical moment in your lives. The truth is, I have kids, and when I try to give them advice, their eyes roll back until they look as white as the ice on a skating rink. Oh my God, they say. He's going to reach down to that old speech cliche washing machine and pull out some soggy old verbal laundry, try to pass it off as a brand new rhetorical tuxedo. Your future is beginning now, so follow your dreams. Or character is not defined by your success, but how you respond to failure and challenge. Or with great privilege comes great responsibility. Truth is, all these things have two fundamental characteristics. They're all true, and they'll test you for your entire life. But also, they're all unbearably boring to listen to for the 100th time. You've heard them already. You know them already. Sometimes people even dress them up in Latin to make them sound important. But the fact is, these sayings are rarely the things that truly change your life. You know, I've been lucky in my life to have met some of the most interesting and some of the most important, powerful people in the world. Presidents, prime ministers, innovators like Bill Gates, musicians like Bono. And people often say to me, "Hey, Evan, what did they tell you? Share it. What wisdom did they give you?" But I rarely have anything to say because it doesn't work like that. I literally barely ever think about it. Although one meeting does stand out, but for a very different reason. Years ago, I got the chance to sit down for a long conversation with the Dalai Lama. I'd flown to California. I was young. He was visiting there. Remember, this is a man that millions of people regard as a god, literally, and I assumed he would impart some great gold nuggets of wisdom, and I'd store them away and be able to share them. When I met him, I was nervous. I was humbled to be in the presence of such a spiritual power. I expected to bow my head and whisper and just listen to his wisdom. But he stunned me. He reversed it all. He rushed over. He threw his arms around me. He started to laugh. "How was I?" he asked. "Why did I look so quiet and dour?" I had a camera. He said, "Let me see that camera." He loves cameras. He loves watches. He loves gadgets. I was comfortable instantly. We started to chat. We spent hours together. I can't believe the things I asked him. I don't know where I got the courage. What's it like to be celibate? Does he ever get urges? He just giggled and laughed. He pointed down at his crotch and he said, "It shriveled up," and he exploded in laughter. If you ask me what deep, memorable thing he said outside of that, what wisdom nugget, I seriously do not recall. And he's the Dalai Lama. But when I left, and this is weird, I thought I got nothing from him. I thought I'd wasted his time and I've wasted mine. And then suddenly, I burst out crying. I mean, I rarely cry. It was so odd. Why was I crying in the hallway of an LA hotel room? Because it wasn't his wisdom. What it was he was just so present. It was just remarkable to see a man who's regarded as a god take all his power and just set it aside. Instead, he made me feel powerful. He made me feel strong. I didn't feel weak or small and powerless. I felt the opposite. He was just present in the moment. He embraced his own contradictions. I asked him, what was a man who renounced wealth doing in LA trying to get stars to help his cause? He just laughed. There was no gotcha moment. He absorbed the paradoxes. He caught to them. He said, "That's what I need to do." You know, I've had a lot of chances to meet him since. I've been very fortunate. It's always the same. It's not what he says. It's his presence that's the wisdom. That's the nugget. Just to be equal. To be generous, to be loving. That's power. I've never forgotten that. And I spend most of my life trying to hold people in power to account. But true power, is unleashing the power of others to be their best, like the Dalai Lama. And don't mistake that for weakness or passivity. In the face of brutal resistance and repression, the Dalai Lama has never wavered, never stopped the fight, never let his hope and his optimism curdle into cynicism and violence, never let the forces of darkness cloud his love or weaken his resolve or deafen him to listen to others or to be present. That's power. The truth is, the people who change your life are not the famous people with bumper stickers of wisdom. They inspire you occasionally. What probably will change you the most are the people closest to you, your family, your dad and your mom, your grandparents, your cousins, your siblings, your kids, your friends. The thing that I'm most changed by are my parents, my brother, my sister, and my friends, being pushed to become the person I ought to be by that circle. You've got to find your tribe. That's the search in life. Find your tribe. Find the people who push you to be your best. You may not have found them yet. Maybe you have, but you will. The people aligned to your own dreams. The people who don't fill the bucket of knowledge, but light the lantern inside of you. That's what a good teacher does. And life is the search for good teachers, the lamplighters, not the bucket fillers. At Crescent, I'm still in touch with a lot of those lamplighters, my friends, but also my former teachers, Mr. Mills, Mr. Davies, Mr. Roberts, Ms. Stremecki, or as I call them now, Pat, Raj, Jeff, and Aldana. I still talk to them, and my friends do too. And your teachers will become friends too. I still thank them for their belief and trust and inspiration. Very special people. For you right now at this moment, it's a key step in your life. You're adults. You're going to be urged to be leaders and change the culture. But what does it mean? What is that actually? What is culture? The best definition I ever heard came from a writer, a Canadian named Tad Homer Dixon. And he said, culture is a set of instructions about how to live that one generation passes on to the next. It's an instruction book. They're lines of code. And the big battle is who gets to write those lines of code? The business people, the politician, the artist? Who? The battle to seize control of the pen or the keyboard and write those lines of code of how to be, that's going on right now. The battle to tell people how to be, what's acceptable and what's not. That's what we need you to do more than ever. Take over the lines of code. Write some that make a better, more loving, healthier world. That's why today I'm not going to repackage some bleached out sayings and bromides. Instead, I'm going to ask for your help. We need you. We are asking for your help. Your generation has had a lot of advantages for sure. Some call them privileges. They are. But let's face it, our generation has left all of you gasping to understand how the world bungled their response to COVID-19, how it's robbed you of some key life moments, stolen some rites of passage, evaporated maybe your first year of university, left you with massive debt. We've left you with a climate crisis. We've left you with a world straining to hold together. It's not a great legacy. So it's probably a little arrogant to start lecturing you on how to act when we've left you that world. I don't want to saddle you with too much responsibility, but the truth is the world needs you more than ever. We need your ideas and your innovation and your bravery and your empathy and your hard work. We need it. And I can't wait to see it. So you seize that pen. Don't let anyone tell you that youth is a liability, to wait your turn. Don't. Go now. Seize the moment. Take chances. Risk is your friend. That's the secret of youth. You're resilient. You can learn from your errors. You're not risking losing any mortgages. Okay, I'll tell you one cool thing someone smart said to me. The great writer Richard Ford. I'd asked him a dumb question. I do that a lot. He looked at me and said, "That's a dumb question." He was pretty smart. He was trying to fluster me, but I ducked it with a little strategy, and I threw it back in his face, and I said, "Richard, you're getting very defensive." I thought he'd try to warm back, but instead he leaned in. He's a southern U.S. writer. He's got big green eyes. He's a tough guy. And he looked at me right in the face. He goes, "You're damn right I'm getting defensive. That's because I have something to defend. What about you?" And I paused, and he got me. I think about that a lot. What do you have to defend? That has been, for me, a question that has resonated. You got to have something to defend. Believe in what you do so you do defend it. Your work, your ideas, your world. And even though we're in COVID darkness right now and COVID confusion, and you're missing out a lot, and you can't minimize that, maybe in all this, see this as an invitation to your greatness. As Nelson Mandela once said, our deepest fears is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond our measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, or fabulous? Actually, Who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. Truth is, Nelson Mandela never said that. He gets attributed, but he didn't say it, but he deserves the credit. And I think I just gave you advice, which I promised not to do, but, you know, it was almost Nelson Mandela. So take a second and internalize it. You're powerful. You're brilliant. You're smart. You're the future. We all cannot wait to see your wondrous work, to listen to you, and to thank you for not only what you've done, but for what you will do. Congratulations, class of 2020. Go get 'em.